Hey everybody, it's Dave Swartz here for a live drawing session of the grand prize for Confederate Monsters IndieGoGo campaign. We're doing an art contest right now. So if you are interested in entering the art contest, you can check out the campaign on IndieGoGo. There's links on all of my social media pages. So if you don't follow me on social media, go follow me on social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You're on YouTube. You can go to the campaign, check out the updates. I believe it's the second update in there. It has all of the art contest details and rules. And if you have any questions at all about it, just direct message me. I'll point you in the right direction. So today I'm just going to be doing a little bit of drawing for you guys. This is going to be like I said, the grand prize for the art contest. So I'm going to do a really nice aged print of this drawing that you're taking a look at right now, that I have a little bit finished. I'm just sort of beginning the inks at the moment, but most of the drawing is pretty well fleshed out. As you can see, I kind of work a little loose. My pencil layer is a bit kind of sketchy still, but I don't want to work too tight. I want to try to just keep as much of that motion and energy from the gesture drawing into the pencil as much as I can. And actually, maybe I'll turn on the gesture drawing just so you guys can kind of see where I started with this beast. But yeah, I think today what I'm going to do is I might tackle the skeleton area. There's this area like right up in here that I think I'm going to do. So let's get into it. So, all right. I'm going to try to keep this as entertaining as I possibly can. It's just sort of me drawing. But, if anybody has any questions at all that they want to drop into the chat, I'll do my best to check in on that every once in a while. What is this? Yeah, I figured it was going to do that. Okay. I'm trying to keep the chat in my screen here as best as I can, but without like taking away too much from you guys. Yeah, that should work. Hey, Benjamin Soto is in the chat. Awesome. Hey, Dave. Hey, Benjamin. Thank you for being here, man. Says looking good. Thanks, man. Actually, like I said, let me really quick. I'm gonna drop all these layers. I'm gonna turn on the gesture. So this is what I started out with. It's kind of a mess, but in the gesture, I'm trying to just, again, I'm keeping it loose. I'm trying to just get the motion of the whole thing, almost like chipping away like a sculptor would at a chunk of marble. I'm just trying to keep, the energy of what I see in my head, there on the page, without dawdling too much, without putting too much detail into it, because I think you kind of tend to lose a little energy when you do that. So then what I do is I go on top and I put this sort of pencil layer, and I can actually drop that down in opacity a little bit so you can take a look at that. So I do this pencil layer, which sort of helps me a little bit. And this isn't all the pencil. This is sort of just, part of the pencil that I did, because this is just sort of a representation of what I drew originally. Or at least the original idea that I had. You can kind of see like the staircase is exactly intact. Like there's no foreground element up here. There's no skeleton up here yet. Over here, I kind of drew like this, the other side of that medical light that I kind of designed for this sort of look for the book. So far, I've only showed it from the dark side. I've been using it as a foreground element, but I was exploring just kind of showing it as is, from the front perspective, but it just didn't, it was flattening out the whole thing. Like it wasn't giving any extra depth. And I felt like that area, I could just, pull that whole thing forward, make it all just in silhouette, and it would really help to like frame in some depth. But if I did that over there, I would have to come over here and do a similar thing in this corner over here, because if I didn't, the whole piece, if I can kind of zoom out on this a little bit, the whole piece, if I were to put like a lot of red over in this corner here, it'd feel really lopsided, it'd feel really heavy, because there's nothing over in the opposite corner to balance it out. So let me flip on I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Let me flip on this other layer here. This kind of shows you a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to flip this down a little bit. Turn this guy up a little. There we go. So you can kind of see where, oh, actually, I combine those layers. Duh. I'm smarter than I think sometimes. So this is sort of the final pencil where I have, this big skeleton element up here that I added, and then I took the light and I flipped it around so that, it's more of a really close foreground, silhouetted kind of object. I also felt like I wanted to add some more silhouetted areas down in this lower quadrant, just to kind of pull, whoa, got a little wonky there, just to kind of pull the eye, down into this area and kind of carry it through into a circle. I'm trying to create this sort of circular, flow for the eye so that the eye doesn't ever feel like when you're looking at it that it falls off the edge. This is, especially this wide aspect ratio, it's just very easy for the eye to just fall off the edge if you don't have something on some side in order to kind of catch it or to balance it out or to push it, back through, the piece. So, all right, I'm gonna drop my layer here back down a little bit. I'm gonna turn off my blue gesture layer. Whoa, there we go. I'm gonna turn up my pencil layers again. And I added kind of a signature, I would say, Sean Murphy thing that he does where he kind of adds an extra, bit of widescreen to it where you add sort of black bars to the top and the bottom, just to even make it look a bit more, wide. So I thought the technique was cool, and so far it's looking pretty interesting in my mind. So let's jump in. I'm just going to give you guys a kind of a look at the scale at which I draw this from. So like I showed you, this is the big sort of piece, right? But I can't draw at this scale. If I were to draw at this scale, I'm gonna find my right layer here. There we go. Do a new layer for this guy. Yeah. I try to draw at a closer scale. So if this is my canvas, I try to blow this up to as close to real life size as possible. Sometimes I don't want to go too close because then I tend to noodle a little too much. So, oh, what is happening with my cursor? You guys see that? It won't stop doing its thing. It's weird. Technical difficulties. I wonder if that's going to persist. Hopefully not. Anyway, what I try to do is I try to zoom in so that I'm just about 100% of what my paper would be in real life. And that's about, for me, this like 40% range on my magnifier. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, probably not. But I'm at about 40% right now as it's showing on my navigator. I'm not entirely, that's probably not true. This is actually a lot closer to actual size. It's maybe a little bit smaller than actual size. But again, I don't want to get in too close so I noodle it too much. So anyway, I'm going to start drawing. It's a novel idea, right? Hopefully my little pen thing will not be a problem. So anyway, I'm going to draw the skeleton guy. And the story behind this element, I was trying to figure out, again, something that I could use to frame in the piece a little. I felt like it was, a little open-ended. And wow, what is happening? All right, sorry, there's weirdness going on with my program here. Hopefully that does not persist. Anyway, I'm going to switch over to my reference here. Got a little bit of reference next to me, especially for like skeleton stuff. Trying to make sure I'm as accurate as I can be. Whoa, do I have to touch on? That's why. I was like, something's going weird with my tablet here, and it's because I had touch on. I don't know if you guys find that, but touch for me, it tends to just be too touchy. So, all right. I almost feel like I want more detail here because I don't have much in my sketch here to go off of. Usually I have a little bit more in my, let's see, that socket, it needs to maybe be up a little bit higher. I have a little bit more in my pencil sketch here. I usually have a little bit more to go off of, but that's not right, Dave. What are you doing? It's not how you draw a skull, bro. There we go. Sometimes I use real reference, I would say, and then other times I use like comic book reference. So, if it's something where like I really love the style in which this artist draws this particular thing, then I'm going to probably use their method or like the way that they went about doing it in order to inspire me for my reference rather than just looking at some anatomy or something like that. Because I can draw anatomy all day long, but sometimes I need to kind of get a different perspective, see somebody else's take on it, be like, oh, whoa, that's an interesting way of drawing that shape. Let's try that out, see if I like it. Right now, I'm just trying to flesh out the basic sort of shapes of it all. The nice thing about this guy right here is I am going to black out most of him. So don't really need to be so clean with how I do things. I can kind of just like, why am I starting there? That's dumb. Should probably start in the middle. That'd be smart. So check in over here. So yeah, so I can be kind of loose with this. I can, just do whatever. I'm really feeling that nose placement. That doesn't really look great to me. It's kind of the fun thing about being an artist is you draw it once and you're like, oh, it looks fine. And then you keep drawing and you're like, nope, that looks terrible. I'm going to redraw that. Yeah, I think it needs to like kind of come out and like into this little area here. I gotta fix that. Yeah, drawing for me sometimes is just a lot of like laying it down, seeing what works. If it doesn't work, trying it again. And again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, until it works. Yeah, this guy is a little, I don't know, it's looking a little weird to me, but we're just going to keep rolling with it because, like I said, this guy, he's going to be primarily black. So it's not really a huge, I can make a lot of adjustments when I start just throwing a lot of black at him. And that's probably what's going to wind up happening. Kind of right now, I guess what I'm trying to just do is nail down the, basic stuff so that I'm not like flying completely blind, like, oh boy, what the heck? And again, trying to keep it loose, just not trying to noodle it too much. I feel like that socket is way too big. It's coming back way too far. Yeah, my drawing's a little off. It's okay. Again, I can fix it. I have the power. It's better. It's better. I'm not entirely sure if I'm sold on it just yet. And then a lot of times I add details that I know just aren't going to be there. That's just going to be covered up completely. Yeah, and the other thing too is I gotta think about the fact that like these sockets, I gotta call out these sockets somehow. So I can't like go too crazy with my silhouette, or else you're not gonna be able to tell what the F you're looking at. So, man, yeah, I'm gonna draw on my red layer a little bit here because past Dave did not put enough down for future Dave to draw from. Past Dave was like, I'm tired. This is cool. I like this. Let's just lay this down. I want to go to bed. Um, that needs adjustment. Or not. That looks even worse. Let's try to just straighten it out. How about that? There we go. Yeah, and again, a lot of this is going to be blacked out, but I don't know if it's just something I need as an artist, some kind of nice solid foundation to draw from. I guess I'm not as skilled when it comes to just plopping things out of my head perfectly like some more seasoned vets out there, but I guess I'm gonna try my best with these ribs. I don't really know how much more information I can lay down than that, but let's give it a shot. Just try to be kind of edgy with this sort of stuff. And even though it's going to be blacked out, I mean, I do try to give some kind of a semblance of volume and shape and form so that it's not devoid of it. You know, even though it's going to be black, you know, you don't have to go in there and just like trace out the whole thing, fill it with black, and then try your best to fill out the details from there. You know, I mean, that's one way of doing it, I guess, but I like to really draw it out as if it's really there and then fill it in with black. Yeah. Take me back to my college days, my anatomy classes. That's not how you draw a clavicle. What are you doing? I think I need a little bit of reference catch up here. Where are you, reference? There you are. Yeah, the clavicle is actually much longer than how I've drawn it. Take that back. Take it back. I think I need a little bit more of a curve in it to be able to make it look like, yeah, something like that. That's kind of a cool shape. Sometimes if it's just a cool shape, then I'm like, yeah, it's a cool shape. Just gonna run with it. I mean, does it kind of look like it works? Yeah, sure. Kind of looks like it works. Why not? Let's do it. Let's check in the chat here. Benjamin Soto says that background is crazy detailed. Did you create your background as a 3D model or layout plans like a blueprint for your background? That's a really great question, Benjamin. So, you know, for me, I'm not a huge 3D person, so I don't really have the talent or the background to put together a 3D model. One of the skills I probably should learn one of these days. But you know, for some of these things, you know, especially for this, I'll tell you what. I'll just, for the sake of the question, I'm gonna come back and just sort of blow up on this thing a little bit so that you guys can kind of see more of what I'm talking about. So, for something like this, you know, it's more or less just trying to figure out interesting placements for your perspective points, trying to create the most depth that you possibly can, especially for something that is meant to be big and expansive. You want to kind of create as many different depth points as you possibly can. So let me explain. This piece right here, I've kind of baked in, let me count them really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would say like 7 different layers of depth, and I count them as 1 with the skeleton, 2 with the light and this sort of stuff over here, right here, because I would say the skeleton is a little closer to us than the stuff over here, and then 3 being Daniel and the monster, 4 kind of being this area over here, including maybe some of whatever else is in this plane, maybe like some of the stuff back here, but then you've got the area behind that, so the bookshelf and all that sort of stuff. So 5, this thing would be considered 5. All that stuff back there would be 5, and then you've got this area up here, 6. All the bookshelf, this sort of plane up here is even further back than that, and then finally you've got that even further back area up there, 7. So that's kind of the 7 different planes. It's not like I just chose like I need 7, but I wanted a lot. I wanted, at least more than 5 for this one in particular. Some comic book pages or illustrations, you maybe only need like 3 or 4. But for this one in particular, since it's so big and it's so detailed, I wanted to make sure that it had lots and lots and lots of depth. Now, when it came to like laying it out, I just created what I think is a pretty interesting perspective, where the main focal point is kind of coming out from the main source of visual interest. So when you look at this right off the bat, I would say this area right here is either the primary focal point or at least a very strong secondary focal point, competing for competition with this guy here. So, I think at the end of the day, when the illustration's all complete, this guy is probably going to be your main focal point, because he's the biggest human. We typically kind of go towards, the most interesting, thing on the page, and that's human beings to us. But, this other area here where all the other, angles are coming out from, that helps to really push the depth, because if you're starting here, then you're continuing to pull, the eye into the piece and then continue to drag it around with all the other, elements within, the layout. So, all right, let's get back to drawings. Yeah, I like to kind of angle my page a little bit whenever I need to. I need to get to, this is about 50. I'm going to kind of pull it back just a little bit. There we go. My slider was not where I thought it was. Okay, so let me jump back to my reference here. I need to take a look at this upper skeletal area here. Oh no! Hit the wrong button. Anyway. Yeah, this bone is kind of strange. It's sort of like it's like a ball to it. Sort of ball socket. And then it has like another thing that, actually, other kind of thing that comes out of it. But yeah, let me think. Sometimes I have to like visualize this stuff to like understand, because the reference isn't perfect. Like this hand isn't, or this arm isn't raised, so I have to kind of like twist the bone in my mind and figure out, okay, this is kind of how it would go. I believe. I'm not entirely sure. I do my best. All right, so the concept for this guy, I think I was talking about that a little while ago and didn't complete my thought. I wanted to create a. I was looking for a reason to put something in this area, and the first thing that came to my mind was the skeleton, because obviously we're talking Frankenstein, we're talking his laboratory. I would imagine he's got all manner of test subjects and body parts and all kinds of stuff that he uses. There's 2 bones here, Dave. To do what he needs to do. And one of the thoughts that I had was, well, why don't we try to populate his laboratory here with stuff like that, stuff that helped him to kind of become the doctor that he is today. So my concept was, what if we had things around the laboratory that Dr. Frankenstein would have used himself, but is now kind of using to teach Igor his method. So, I thought, let's have maybe some test subjects for working with bones, test subjects for working with muscle tissue, test subjects just all over the place, so that it kind of really looks like a laboratory. And this guy, I wanted, this to be kind of like the skeletal one, where, you can kind of see they're testing how to, reattach bone, and how to reset bones that are either broken or that are, detached. After all, I think Dr. Frankenstein really, truly not only wants to understand, how things work, but then, how to repair them if they're broken. So this is sort of my model for the skeleton, where there's all kinds of manner of metal attachments, screws and plates and stuff that are kind of attached to this thing, that have been used as practice for both Dr. Frankenstein and Igor. So let's check back on the chat. Ben says, very cool. I never thought about layering the scene behind the typical foreground, midground, background. Yeah, absolutely, man. The depth of a piece, especially something like this that's more of an environment piece. If it's an environment, because in comics, I think a lot of people, when they approach comics, they think, okay, I'm going to primarily fixate on the thing that's most interesting to me, which is the character. Right, so we're gonna constantly, I think, be looking to, drawing the character and nailing down the character in the human form. But oftentimes we also have to consider the background. We have to consider the environment that we're in. So, it's a good idea to understand not only how to make the human body look dynamic, but to also make your environments look dynamic. I think that does separate a lot of really, mediocre artists from really great artists. Is they understand how to, use their backgrounds to elevate the overall, look of the book. Sometimes it's not about, drawing a really cool character. It's about, selling that character within a world. Right now, I'm trying to draw the hand. I shouldn't say try. I am drawing the hands. I am not entirely being accurate here, because I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to go in and get all the perfect little hand bone details, especially because I am once again filling it in with black. So no need to bust myself in doing that. So I'm just sort of kind of, in ways laying it in there, in ways that I think look pretty decent. All right, now I gotta watch my size and proportion now, though, because that bone is way too big for what it actually needs to be. It's actually more like a small joint. Doo-doo-doo. Ooh, yeah, I should make the tips of the fingers kind of claw-like. All right, so count your digits. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, so this one is going to be kind of, what I probably should do is lay out how far I want to go with the tips and everything. And again, I can be kind of messy here because I am filling this in with black at the end of the day. So, not the end of the day, but we'll see. We will see how much time I have. Man, I don't feel like I made that really long. Because you did make it really long. Yeah. All right. I think I'm going to have to backtrack here a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes this stuff happens. I went really long with the palm bone areas there. I really like them though. It's too bad I have to redraw them. But I'm just gonna cut them in half a little bit. Well, maybe not completely in half, but they can't be that long. The hand's just gonna wind up looking like ridiculously long. And I say that because I was looking at the proportion of like the size of this area to the size of that area. Wow, that looks like penis. Didn't mean to do that. That was just the proportions were like way the f off. So I need to kind of shrink these down a little bit. Again, not trying to be perfect. Actually, right now I think I'm just gonna draw some of this stuff because I need to just kind of lay this out. Then I can worry about all the little subtle details. Yeah, because it's like, and then another little thing. Hands are a lot more complicated when they're skeleton. Now, see, the question now becomes, do I like that hand? Is that a hand that could be improved upon? Um, hmm, I don't know. I think it's all right for now. I might need to revisit it in the shadow. See, what I want to do with this hand is kind of make it so that we've got like this sort of thing going on where the different like digits are kind of like suspended. Kind of like that, yeah. Because it's supposed to just look kind of like creepy and like mannequin, you know, mannequin-y. I just realized this is horribly drawn. That needs to go away. Yeah, so let's just do a little bit of this. I gotta make sure that that looks like it fits with the position of that arm. Where's my slider? It's good. As you can see, I tend to, when it's like a quick thing like this, like a quick oval or circle or something like that, I tend to just sort of freehand it. It's not the best thing to do, I think, in every situation. I, in fact, have multiple um, circle templates that are saved in layers in this drawing. Whoa, I just realized that's a little off. But yeah, I just think when it's small circles like this, I just feel like there's not any, especially since I'm not trying to be clean about this. Like I want this to be really rough. I mean, in fact, gonna probably just start blacking out some of this stuff just to kind of get a sense of what I'm dealing with, making sure I'm not going like too far in one direction or another. If my plan is actually going to work, sometimes you have a plan and you're like, oh crap, that ain't working. Plus, it gives me a really good chance to practice my circle drawing. And I know it's like, oh my god, Dave, you just draw a circle to save your life, so I don't have to keep drawing or watching you draw circles. And like that one was a good circle, but not in a good spot, so I need to move it. I'm actually trying to gradually make them look, yeah, a little bit wider, so that it just kind of helps to bend that shape a little bit, give it a little extra perspective that might not actually be there. So then I have to kind of maybe figure out what I want to do with this other stuff here. I do bounce around a lot, so if I like get too bored with what I'm drawing or like something is just like I'm not totally sure how I want to do that, so I'm just gonna kind of jump around another spot, come back to that. All right, back to my referrals. Okay. Let's see. Perfect. All right, skeleton city here. All right, we're gonna do some of this. Yeah, even if it's like a so-so shape, I do try my best to spruce it up a little bit so that it's not so boring and dull. Yeah, erg. Erg. All right, this is where we're gonna get a little tricky here. So I think what I'm gonna try to do before I start just diving into ribs is I'm gonna try to space out, just draw myself a couple little lines here on this sternum bone. That will kind of help me get the right amount of ribs in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I can kind of have at least a little bit of a starting point on either side so that I kind of have something to go off of. This one is actually, yeah, this one actually comes down as more of a fused sort of thing. A fused situation. Apologize for my silence, but this is some tricky drawing situations right here. Again, it's not going to be perfect. And you don't want it to be perfect. You want it to have a kind of, your sort of stamp on it. But one thing I'm noticing is you need to be a little more ribbon-like. You kind of up the 3D aspect of them because they're starting to flatten out. So I think to do that, I'm just going to kind of bend that in there like that. And hopefully I can sell that with the silhouette. Because again, with this sort of stuff, I know I'm going to fill this in with black. So I don't have to go too crazy. Yeah. So if I can't go that crazy, oh boy. A little too much there, Dave. All right. Let's check in. Yeah, it's gonna. This side in particular is gonna be a little tricky to keep straight, but should be able to. Yikes. Okay, let's try this again. Yeah, because this is going to overlap that a little bit. So let's erase this a little. Probably should have picked something a little less challenging for a drawstring, but I guess I'll just roll with it. Yeah, because again, this is all going to be blacked out, so I don't have to be too diligent about it. I think I'm overthinking this a little bit too much. But I do want to keep some of this cool negative space in here because that's pretty dope. All right, yeah, I think this needs like a plate or something. So, I want to work on this cage thing. Yeah, I wanted to kind of create like one of these halo things. I'm really trying to do this without having to pull out. Yeah, it's nice. Pull out my ruler layer again. Wow. Should probably count how many times I've said, I'm just going to fill this in with black, so no need to go too crazy. Watch these lines, make sure that I'm not like killing the silhouette. You know, if I pull that line straight through this on the silhouette, it kind of kills that cool little spiky thing on the silhouette, which I really enjoy. So we're gonna kind of watch that, make sure we're not doing too much damage. And I was like, I'm not going to draw anything silhouette yet. I'm just going to kind of draw the pencils, and then I'm in here like already drawn out silhouette. Just get eager sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? This would be better if I just blacked it out right now. I go back in here and chip away at this a little bit to kind of make it a little more tethered and weathered. Tethered. I said that. Weathered. Um, yeah, I think I need a little bit more medical bone um, equipment. Try that. Bone fracture equipment. How about that? Yes. Oh boy, the image source for this is going to be graphic. That's another thing about being an artist is like looking up things that you need reference for, and then you just know that what you're going to see is going to be graphic as shit. I need more of the instruments. You know what? I guess I could just have fun and kind of make it up, huh? Why not? I like kind of what's going on in that silhouette. So let's try to. I hope that you guys watching this understand that I am both knowledgeable and uh, kind of shooting from the hip as often as I possibly can. Sometimes it's like I know exactly what to do, and then other times you're like, I'm not really sure what to do. I'm just gonna kind of dive into this and see what happens. Just kind of trying to see what kind of cool lines within the silhouette I can create. And maybe I am jumping the gun a little bit, but I have this vision in my head. I guess I want to make sure that it works before I go like too far. All right, let's see. I gotta figure out this rib situation. Back to the reference. I'm gonna try to say that with as much like Batman '60s television show that I possibly can. Back to the reference. And again, I can draw through here because I am. Say it with me now. Filling it in with black later. That's right. Red. That's right. This is all kind of be. There we go. Black, black, black. I think it needs to go up higher. Now that comes down to one solid button. Kill. And then when that's all blacked out and I know exactly what I'm working with, I'll try to fill in some of this stuff that like overlaps. But I mean, it's almost impossible to figure it out at this moment. So I'll worry about that later when I actually like really need to worry about it. All right. So back to figuring out what kind of weird metal like plate things I can add to this to make it look creepy. And right now I'm just trying to make like an interesting looking silhouette. I really could care less how medically accurate this is. Okay. All right. Think, well, I guess I could go want to try to like make him look like he's kind of dangling there. They've got like some kind of ropes or like line that's sort of keeping up here. And again, I don't have to go crazy. Or I should say I can go crazy. I don't have to like worry about being super detailed. Ooh, no, I don't like that. Okay, I want to start filling this dude in with black. He needs it. So let's see what happens. Now with this process, I am going to just try my best to go nuts with the black first, and then I'm going to come back in and try to chisel some details out. So I know like in traditional, if I were to do this traditionally, I would probably be a lot more diligent about what I'm doing here. Um, Trying to make sure I'm, maintaining the highlights where I need highlight and that kind of thing. But I mean, honestly, with digital, I can go back and forth all day long, so it's really not a big deal. Now, I will try to, when I color this in, I'm trying to kind of flow my scribble with the, shape that I'm working with for sure. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do this yet, but I'll figure it out. I want to make sure I'm flowing with the shape that I'm working with so that it does kind of give an semblance of form, but not super clear. Yeah, see, like I feel like these eyes are gonna have to be white, but that doesn't really make any sense because there'd be skull in there. So I'm wondering how I'm gonna do that. I might have to just pull out the edge of it, like something like that, maybe. Yeah, I'll play around with that. Got to get some highlight in there to really make that work, I think. But I tend to do these things super scribbly. I could easily, I'm sure, just sort of select the whole thing and fill it with black and be done with it. But it's just not. It's just not how I want to do it. I want to give it a little bit more of that handmade touch, so you can see that I created the strokes that made this. Sure, does it take a lot longer? Yeah, but in my mind, it just looks a lot more interesting than to just fill it in with black and be like, yeah, done with black. I'm done. Sure, you can hear my cat wailing in the background, but she doesn't like the doors closed. I am so sorry, honey. Life is rough, I know. The life of the cat. So now you can see why, for the last however long, half an hour or so, I've been on for a lot longer than that. Why I didn't really care about the details so much because I'm just scribbling this in with black now. So okay, it'll take a little while, but I think the end result will be worth it. it's like almost the worse it looks, the better. Like I shouldn't say that, but the like dirtier it looks, like the better. I think in ways, because it's supposed to be like horror kind of thing, you know. That might be a little pointy. I'm gonna take that down a little. We shall see. Alrighty. Because I'm over here just adding more spike to this hand, or this finger. Alright, flip this around, make it a little easier on myself. See, the question I'm now having is one arm, is one hand enough here? Do I need to maybe figure out a way of getting this other hand in here somehow? Don't know. Let's find out after I'm done with this, shall we? A little more detail here for the digits. They're almost all the same length now that I look at them. That's a bit of an issue. I should probably change it. Let's see here. Should probably make this one a little bit shorter. Oop. Yeah, I was just looking at it going, it's just a little too. Yeah, it's just a little too all the same length of finger. So I think I needed to kind of shorten that one up a little bit. Trying to, doesn't look very good. So let's try it again. That's better. I think it just wasn't, it didn't have that. Yeah, it didn't have that arch to it that I was really looking for. So I'm going to take that finger down here because yeah, that's a little bit better, I think. Just a wee bit better. Okay. So now, back into the rib cage. Let's do that. This is the fun part. What to keep and what's not. Trying to kind of create a little more zigzaggy kind of shape with these ribs. A little more jagged, hard-edged. And also, as I'm going through here, trying to make sure that they're fairly even in thickness. You know, if one looks a little too big or wonky, it might throw off the illusion a little. Even if in real life they are a little bit, you know, different sized. Let's see. Oh man, did I get off? Yeah, so I got off. Ah, love it. Gotta love it. I'm glad that there is no one here live to see that. Back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Okay, well, we'll just start there. Somehow I got off there, and I think it's because I started at the top and I wasn't paying attention. So let's start from the bottom and make sure we're coloring in the right ribs here, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, Dave. Wasn't anyone else's mistake. It was your mistake, sir. Do 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 do. Filling in those ribs. Get some silhouette action going. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Looking good. Yeah, so later what I will probably do is go in here and chisel away some things. So I can kind of already tell I'm not in love with all the spacing. So yeah, that spacing was really kind of wonky there, Mr. Sports. Alright. Okay. Yes. This is just like this. There we go. Yeah. Okay. These are all kind of smashed together, so they're probably going to be primarily just black, but I wanted to see what kind of little hints of negative space I might be able to pull out. Oh, and my stomach is reminding me I haven't really eaten lunch today. What's up with that? Alrighty. So start putting in a little bit more of this background stuff in the spine area. Alrighty. Okay, this gets pretty good. Pretty good. I think I want to try to sneak some ribbage in here. Yeah, there we go. So it really like looks like the ribs are wrapping around. And I knew that would be way easier to do in the silhouette than to actually do in real life. So, well, in the pencil, I should say at least. Although I'm looking at it now, going, I feel like that rib cage is a little bit small. Am I wrong? I feel like that rib cage is a little small. Um, that's a good question. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to collapse these layers so they're all one layer, and then I'm going to just grab this whole bottom section and blow it up just a little bit. This is why I work digitally. Because if I did this traditionally, I would be looking at it going, oh, why? I could have just made the rib cage a little bit bigger. Like, what the heck? But I can just do that now. Pull her back. Pull her back there, Dave. Yeah, I mean, it could probably go bigger, but I mean, I don't want to be too nuts about it. So it's looking pretty good. It's looking real good. So the only area to me that really isn't, ooh, selection tool. I no longer need you. The only area that I don't really feel is looking all that great is this facial area here. Um, let's think about this. I feel like we just need to catch more light. Just blacken some of this out a little bit so I can really play with the white here. I'm going to throw another fill later. I'm going to use white this time. I'm going to come in and kind of see what kind of edges I can hit to make this look like it's not so bad. Actually, no, I should. The skeleton, I always, with the teeth, I always try to make these like little like zigzag shapes to be like sells the look of an actual like tooth system. It's a little bit better. It's not bad. See now, the other thought that I'm having is, what if this guy isn't like completely in silhouette? You know, maybe we try to like pull almost like a secondary light source that's happening, you know, off camera. And almost illuminating him from a different angle. But I don't want to take away too much from the silhouette. That's the only thing I had to be whatever I'm doing, it's got to be subtle. Yeah, I would like to be nice to pull and separate these things out from one another a little. I think a secondary light source would really do this nicely. Digging it, digging it, digging it, yeah. Yeah, this is turning out great now. All right, so if you get a secondary light source, maybe it's hitting a little bit of that. Maybe it's hitting a little bit of this. All right, I need some reference for that. Make it look as yeah, there we go. Like that. All right, I think we need a little bit more. Just feel like I'm seeing a little too much of the, so I'm gonna try to black it out a little bit more. Just a couple areas. Should yeah, looking good. Okay, folks, let's check in. So I think for right now, I'm gonna call this drawing session concluded. But we made some really good progress. We made that sweet looking skeleton pop in there. We'll probably jump over and do some other foreground elements just to kind of frame it in a little bit. But yeah, it's gonna take a while. So, all right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to be jumping on probably once or twice more today, and then I'll try to do a couple more throughout the week. Again, make sure if you haven't checked out the IndieGoGo for Confederate Monster, please check that out. Back it, share it, retweet it. We are running an art contest right now for the campaign that this illustration is going to be the grand prize for. You're going to get a really nice aged print that I'm going to do myself and ship to you, sign myself. So again, make sure you check out the campaign. Make sure you check out the art contest. All the rules and information about how to enter are on the campaign in the updates. And stay tuned for more live drawing with Dave.